Okay, hello everyone, I'm Zanati Tata and I'll be your moderator for today's presentation. Thank you all for joining us to explore an essential topic in communicative classroom interaction, which is standard for conduct routine and safe school policies. Before we dive in, let me introduce my teammates. We've got extraordinary speakers lined up to guide us through various aspects of this topic. There are Nazifa Madina and Sabrina Rahmi. Now, let me give you a quick overview of the goals and flow of today's session. Our presentation will delve into the world of standard for conduct routine and safe school policies, as you can see in the tables of content here. Okay, let's kick things off with our first presenter. Please welcome Nazifa, who will share insight into standard for classroom conduct until teaching standard and procedure. Take it away, Nazifa.
Thank you, moderator. Okay guys, next we will discuss about standard for classroom conduct. As you can see and read in the PPT, there is 2 points of standard for classroom conduct. The first one is purposefully state standards. Focus on the purpose behind the behavior. For example, instead of saying stay in your seat, a better standard would be don't disturb others during a task. It is better to have 4 to 8 broad standards rather than many specific rules, because they are easier to remember, seems more important, and appeal to common sense and encourage thoughtful behavior. Teachers should avoid too many narrow rules and focus on standards that promote considerate behavior over technicalities. And the second point is the number of standards for classroom conduct. It's more beneficial to establish 4 to 8 purposeful standards for classroom conduct rather than having numerous specific rules. This is because a small set of standards is easier for students to remember and compare to a large number of words. Additionally, each standard in consists set appears more significant and encouraging students to prioritize them. Purposeful standard resonate with students, promoting thoughtful behavior grounded in common sense, and moreover, this standard focus on meaningful behavior rather than insignificant technicalities. And unfortunately, teachers sometimes still make fall into the trap of creating too many narrow rules, mistakenly blending conduct standard with specific procedure for particular situation. And next material is about procedures for smoothly operating classroom. Routine procedures in classroom are specific instructions for events or activities, unlike general conduct standard. While conduct standards are displayed in the classroom, routine procedures are run through participation. Efficient procedures are crucial for a well-functioning classroom. Examples of routine procedures cover various aspects like student arrival, taking attendance, completing administrative tasks, and handling emergencies. Creating clear procedures for these activities have maintained order and efficiency in the classroom. And next material is about necessary standard for conduct. Mr. Taft Nohat rule is examined in line of these purposes, revealing that it doesn't directly serve the first 3 purposes. In case 5.3, the importance of upholding community standard of courtesy is highlighted, but it is crucial to avoid unnecessary standards that lack defensible rationale. three standards for conduct reserved for main purpose. The first point is for purpose. Required behavior standards must serve at least one of the four primary purposes of maximizing focus behavior, ensuring safety and comfort, preventing disruption, and maintaining order in interaction between student and school staff. And point 2 is justification of standard. Each standard of behavior must be based on one or more of the four objective. Enforcement of rules that do not have a clear rationale may result in unfairness and resistance for students. And the third point is politeness and courtesy. Politeness and courtesy, regularity and fairness in classroom behavior are important for creating a positive learning environment. A sense of courtesy and tact in treating others helps in navigating cultural differences in the classroom. And last but not least is the consequences of unnecessary standard. Unnecessary standard of behavior can result in negative consequences, including unfair application of rules, reduced respect for all standard, and disruption of the learning process. The next material is when to determine standard and routine procedure. Teachers can choose to establish standard for conduct and routine procedure either at the beginning of the school year or gradually as needed. Setting standard and procedure at the start of the term has advantage such as preventing certain off-task behavior, increasing student representativeness, and allowing more time for practice. However, there are also benefits to establishing them throughout the term, including avoid points, negative behavior, and changing student understanding and promoting gradual appreciation for the role. A combined approach, starting with key standard and adding more over time, may be effective. Younger students may require more time for this process at the beginning of the school year. And the next material is about who should determine standard. The effectiveness of standard in serving their purpose depends more on implementation process than on who determine them. There are four options of determining standard. The first one is teacher-driven. You as a teacher decide on all standards, ensuring they are purposeful and necessary without confusing them with routine procedure. The second is teacher-influenced. You determine all standards yourself but consider student recommendation. The third is student-driven. Student propose and vote on standard in a democratic process, with you providing leadership and ensuring necessary standards are established. And the last but not least is combination. You may set fundamental guidelines while involving students in decision about more specific standards within those guidelines. Next material is about teaching standard and procedure to students. Teaching students about standard and procedure is crucial for their success. Just like any subject, we can use a teaching model to help students learn. In case 5.4, a teacher demonstrates how to effectively establish, teach, and enforce rules. It's like Mr. Williams' plan for addressing rule violation, which is vital for ensuring completion. Additionally, in case 5.5, illustrate a teacher considering student input when deciding on procedure, while case 5.6 shows another teacher involving student in decision or making through a demonstrative process. Okay, that's it all I can say. I give it back to moderator.
Thank you, Nazifa, for setting the stage with your insightful presentation. Now, let's continue our journey with me. I will explain about school-wide discipline policies. This material talks about how it's important for rules in classroom to match the rules in the whole school. For instance, if a teacher says student can wear hat in the class, but the school said it's okay, that's a problem. So it's important for school to have a plan for discipline that makes sure all the rules in the classroom and the school match. This way, teacher can set rules that fit their class well. To avoid situations like the previous example, we can develop safe school programs by following the strategies below. First is understanding school violence, because it's important to understand why violence happens in school. This helps us make good plans to prevent violence. For example, we can ask students, teachers, and parents questions to find out what problems are causing violence in school. Second is focusing on prevention. A safe school program should focus on preventing violence from happening in the first place, rather than just punishing students after something bad happens. For example, we can teach a conflict resolution skill to teachers and students, and create a positive school atmosphere and set up programs to help students help each other. The third one is implementing safety measures. A safe school program should include many ways to prevent violence, like physical security, social emotional learning, and community involvement. For example, we have regular safety drills, install security cameras, and hire school research officers to make sure our school is safer and prevent violence. Fourth is teaching conflict resolution. Teaching students how to manage conflict and solve problems is very important to prevent violence in school. For example, we can integrate conflict resolution skills into our curriculum through workshops, role-playing, and peer meditation programs to empower students with effective ways to manage conflict peacefully. 5 is reducing gang-related incidents. Gang-related incidents can be a big challenge for school. A safe school program should address despite targeted intervention, mentorship programs, and educational interventions. For example, we work with local law enforcement, community organizations, and parents to identify and address gang-related issues through the targeted intervention, mentorship programs, and educational initiatives. 6 is addressing gang activities. A safe school program should have a clear policy on addressing gang activities, including providing counseling and support services for at-risk students and organizing awareness campaigns to educate the school and community about the danger of gang involvement. For example, we establish an anti-gang policy, provide counseling and support service for at-risk students, and organize awareness campaigns to educate the school community about the dangers of gang involvement. 7 is collaborating with students involved in gangs. Working with students involved in gang is important to prevent gang-related violence in school. For example, we talk to students involved in gangs over mentorship opportunities and connect them with resources to steer them away from the gang activities and towards positive alternatives within the school environment. Those are strategies for developing school programs that can be applied at school. For the next material about the gentle caring as an essential of an effective safe school system will be explained by Sabrina.
Okay, thank you to moderator. Here I will explain two material. The first one material is gentle caring school communities. Research highlight the importance of school modeling communities that promote caring relationships and gentleness to prevent violence. School should help students who are inclined to violence to understanding softer behavioral alternatives and introduce a culture of nonviolence through teaching and moral vision. Teachers should demonstrate gentle communication. Parents respond to aggressions with gentleness and avoid authoritarian approaches. Using an authoritarian approach limits time for interactions and reduce opportunities for pro-social behavior, while authoritarian responses only increase antisocial behavior. This can increase student alienations and contribute to academic failure, school violence, and loss of hope. Okay, the next material is essentials of an effective safe school system. And number one for this material is 11 elements. To be effective, a safe school system must include the following. Number one, the program is developed with the support of a consensus of school personnel, students, parents, community leaders, and community agencies. And number two, the initial designs of the program is based on the research studies on school safety and school safety audits. And number three is a school safety committee is organized and activities to plan, monitor, and redesign the program. And number four, the program used a team approach with all school personnel working collaboratively with students, parents, community leaders, and community agencies. And number five, all school personnel receive ongoing training in the art of making the program successful. And then number six, the program is coordinated with school-wide discipline policies. And number seven, provisions for building positive relationships among students, teachers, and other school personnel are included. And number eight, a school-wide system for resolving conflict is implemented. And number nine, communication network are installed using modern technology so that school personnel can rapidly communicate with one another. And number 10 is backup and crisis support research and procedure are in place. And the last is number 11 is procedure are in place for control. And number 2 for this material is consensus within the community. The primary step in moving forward school security is starting open dialogues including all partner, counseling guardians, trade agents, and community bunches. And number 3 is research and periodic safety audits. Research and audits are essentials for developing a safe school program. Watson Saget's an independent school safety consultant conduct a true safety audit, evaluating the school area, key points, and potential violence indicators. And number 4 is School Safety Committee. School Safety Committee oversees the planning, implementations, evaluations, and modification of the school safety program. The committee should include faculty, student, parent, administrator, and community members. They will plan, evaluate, and modify the program. And number 5 is team approach. Unity of school faculty, staff, and administrations is vital of successful program. One teacher not following safety protocols can weaken its impact. Number 6 is training for all school personnel. Training is essential for a successful safe school program, covering program features, conflict resolutions, identifying crime, managing student anger, responding to violence, and consistent discipline policy. And number 7 is coordination with school-wide discipline police, school disciplines police, and the success of a safe school program are interlinked. Safety audits can provide feedback that influence school disciplines policy. Okay, number 8 is provisions of building positive relationships, creating a professional classroom environment, and implementing effective communication strategy builds positive relationships with student and safe community. Good relationships between teachers and students are crucial for promoting respectful behavior. And number 9 is provision for conflict resolutions. Conflict between students that are not resolved or managed constructively are one of the main causes of violence. Therefore, an effective school safety program should have mechanisms to help students resolve conflict constructively before that become violence. And number 10 is communication system. The need for an effective communication system in the classroom to call for help when facing a difficult situation with students. Consensus for school safety program helped to gain strong political support to finance the necessary communication tool. And number 11 is backup and crisis support researches and procedures. Through coordinated school planning, security personnel are in place and procedures have been practiced to provide assistance without wasting valuable time. In situations where a teacher has faced violence, the school also have procedures in place to secure assistance from other teachers nearby. And the last is traffic control and intruder preventions. Visitors in schools are an issue because of the difference between a welcome guest and an unwanted invader. Police require visitors to report to the administration's office before being allowed into other part of the campus, but the applications of policies is often inconsistent. This floats the risk that people without legitimate business will trespass. Okay, maybe just enough for me. I return to moderator.
Thank you, Sabrina, for your explanation. And now we jump up to the conclusion. So the conclusion is the importance of clear and goal-oriented classroom behavior standards to improve student behavior. Behavioral standards should be focused on clear needs such as behavioral justification, politeness, and consequence of undesirable behavior. The establishment of standard and routine procedures can be done at the beginning of the school year or gradually as needed. It is also important to develop a safe management and reduction of gang-related incidents in school. Important elements of a safe school system include consensus within the community, periodic safety audits, school safety committees, training for all school personnel, and coordination with school discipline policies. Okay, that's all of our presentation. And last, I want to express my gratitude to our speaker for sharing their valuable insight. Also, I want to say thank you all for your active participation and engagement. Until next time, happy learning!